All right, let's do a situation analysis on that particular story by Masi Kandia. In studio, I have with me the Principal Secretary, Ministry of Devolution and Planning, John Conchella. Thank you so much for joining us on KTN.
Thank you, Linda.
All right, before we get into this, let's look at something that happened at the beginning of the year when we had stories of drought and famine, of course, that was ravaging some parts of the country. Let's listen in.
Yeah.
Samburu East, Samburu County, hiyo area hakuna maneno ya hata marisho ni shida.
I think you've seen me in various parts of the country addressing myself to this issue, launching irrigation programs, trying to revive ones that have collapsed, all with the aim of ensuring this, what you call a national embarrassment, which it is actually resolved once and for all.
Bueno, PS,
Yes.
from the minute the president said we need to sort this once and for all,
Yeah.
was there a plan in place?
Yes, Linda. Okay, the situation of drought can never probably be a situation which can be entirely predicted. The action we have taken as a government, we were aware that there is a problem of food shortage in the country, particularly in the SAL areas. We have carried the necessary assessment, and we've been managing to reach the needy on the ground, but the first line of support normally comes from the county governments. Our part is normally to immediately get there and distribute the food to the county headquarters, where the food will be distributed by the county governments, governors from the county headquarters to the needy people on the ground, because they are the one better place to understand the situation in their respective counties. And this was a culmination of an agreement which was entered between His Excellency the President and governors from ASAL counties, that we agree that as a national government will avail food up to the county headquarters, distribution of food, provision of water and medicine remain a function to be performed by county government.
So basically you've played your part.
We've done our part. However, the situation of Samburu, I was there over the weekend personally, and His Excellency the Deputy President was also there following the
days ago, yes.
we were there on Friday and Saturday, and we managed to get to the ground to understand the situation. It is of course needy. We managed to supply the food which was required to virtually each and every constituency for the necessary distribution.
Okay, so what is the situation like on the ground from what you saw and what you're getting from your people on the ground?
Yeah, the situation is needy, no doubt, and that's why the government speedily moved to avail 1 billion shillings towards averting this kind of situation.
1 billion shillings?
1 billion shillings.
Okay.
Yeah. So
specifically for Samburu or?
No, for the whole country, for the entire SAL counties which are affected by hunger. So we have the money, and as you know, we've been feeding about 1.3 million Kenyans who are in the SAL counties. The figure has now slightly increased to 1.5. We are, of course, as a government aware that we need a long-term and sustainable solution to this kind of situation, and that's why we have come up with what we call we call it what?
Okay, before we get there,
yes.
Are we now at a point as a country where we can declare that we have famine and drought in certain areas? And if indeed we are at that point, what areas are raising the red flag?
Yes, Samburu is one, Baringo is the other one, and then Wajir, Marsabit, Isiolo, Mandera. The entire northern Kenya is affected by drought as we speak. Yeah, and the long-term plans, of course, are there, but you realize the government has been in power for the last 1 year. We can't really change what has been the situation, but in terms of plans to change the situation, we have the ending drought emergency strategy, which is a 10-year plan, which has been aligned to the MTP2, to ensure that Kenyans become food sufficient in their respective locations. And this is why the government is taking up things like irrigations very seriously. You saw the Minister of Agriculture was in Narok the other day, kind of introducing irrigation. You see what we are doing in Bura. These are some of the things we have initiatives that the government is taking or undertaking to ensure that in the long run, Kenyans should be food sufficient in their respective areas.
Okay, I know you've said that you've done your part,
Yes.
and a lot of what needs to be done by the county government. But putting in mind that people are dying, and probably more could die if nothing or very little is done, what are you doing as a ministry to help? And if you're doing anything to help, at what point can the residents expect help?
Linda, I can tell you, we were in Samburu on Friday. As soon as we heard that there is a problem, we immediately took action by being on the ground ourselves. We have also our staff who are carrying out the necessary assessments on the ground on the situation of need, in liaison, of course, with the county government. And we hope to come up with a common front of making sure that we combat this kind of situation. It's a situation, of course, which is complicated because it's affecting an entire region of northern Kenya, which has a number of challenges. One, infrastructure is a big challenge. So we have to liaise with the county government and other stakeholders like the donor communities to ensure that we reach to all the areas affected by drought.
Okay, so fine, you're trying to reach all the areas affected by drought.
Yes.
If we go back to that bite by the president at the beginning of this interview, he said this is a national embarrassment. And indeed, we have had this year in, year out. To Kenyans, it's a perennial problem.
Yes.
What long-term measures are we putting in place to ensure that 2015, we will not be having people dying and sending relief food, just like we've done over the last couple of years?
I want to say, Linda, that this is not a matter that we can just wake up one day and end it.
That's why I'm asking for a long-term
We
plan.
have a long-term plan. The ending drought emergency strategy is a 10-year strategic plan of the government of Kenya to address critically how we can come out of this mess in a kind of systematic manner. It may not be achieved immediately, but we are sure within the time frame of the strategic plan, we should be able to come out with a solution to this problem.
What is involved in this plan?
One is initiatives of food sufficiency at the local level. Because you realize, Linda, even if we have food in one side of the country, and there is another corner of the country which does not have food and they don't have money to buy, we must buy food to feed this one. Otherwise, it will be difficult to sustain that kind of thing. What we are trying to do is now to come up with irrigation projects in each and every county to ensure where we can do irrigation, let us get the food there among those people to come out with this kind of mess which is ravaging this country, which is expressed by His Excellency is a national shame.
It's a national,
yeah.
All right, finally, before I let you go, give Kenyans an assurance that even with this, what we are seeing right now in Samburu and Baragoi, we're sorting this out.
I want to assure Kenyans that the Kenyan government has taken a step to ensure that no Kenyan die of hunger. And I appeal to county government to be the first line of really response to assist us in identifying areas of need for us to ensure that we reach as soon as practically possible. The resources are available now. 1 billion was released 3 days ago, and we are now moving fast to secure the necessary relief food, and thereafter we'll make sure that we try our level best to reach each and every corner of the country which is affected. Okay. But of course, the responsibility of identifying is rested on the county governments, which are on the ground.
Principal Secretary, Ministry of Devolution and Planning, John Conchella, thank you so much for speaking to KTN Prime.